Hey everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here today with a project for Jillibean Soup using two of their new collections from CHA 2017, Bowl of Dreams and Super Celebration. So I have some of the papers here. I'm not using a whole lot of the papers, just these two basically. One is from the Super Celebration, which is this blue polka dot background, and then the other is from Bowl of Dreams, and that's that pretty floral paper. So as soon as I saw that paper, I knew I was not going to be using it just as it was. I knew I was going to fussy cut it. So most of this project today is all fussy cutting. And I also really love these large letters here. There's one for each of the two new collections, and this one I believe is from Bowl of Dreams. And you can see there's lots of great fun patterns and colors. I love them. They're awesome. Probably about just over 2 inches high, and they're nice and tall and thin. I really like them. So I'm hoping I can use that on my page later. I've just saved a few, and I'm going to put them away in a Ziploc bag for packaging. And I saved that plastic insert on the top for watercoloring, so nothing really goes to waste. So I'm going to stick down just a simple die cut circle I did on my Cameo by linking two circles together and welding them. Really a simple thing you can do. And I have my photo, which I kind of want to keep in that right corner. And then I've also gone ahead and just die cut on my silhouette some stems from Just Nick. And just out of this dark teal paper that I'm going to tuck in some of that later. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And really, for the most part of this page, it's fussy cutting. So clearly, fussy cutting is not for everyone. I know that. And if you don't want a fussy cut and you have a pick scan mat for your silhouette, you could definitely use that. You just need to take a picture of the paper on your camera phone, works best, or on your camera, and then load it into your silhouette software if you have that pick scan option. And then you can choose what flowers you want to cut out, and your machine will do all the magic for you. I have a class over at Page Maps. It's called Silhouette Essentials 1 and 2, actually 101 and 102, and we go over that in the more advanced class. So if that's something you're interested in, I think the class is pretty cheap. It's like $15 or $20 US. You get a lot of free cut files too. At any rate, I'm going to continue fussy cutting these flowers. I started off with kind of the larger flowers, and I'm using ones that are like partially cut off from the edge of the paper, and this one here, that's completely full. I don't mind fussy cutting around all these little details, but again, if that's not your thing, you don't need to. You could cut them separate, or you could just cut around that part there that if you didn't want to cut it. Or you can go ahead here like I'm going to do and use a craft mat to get at some of those little more intricate things. The only key is you really need to make sure it's self-healing and that your X-Acto knife is super sharp. Otherwise, it takes a lot longer and you probably will rip your paper. So most of this, like I said, is fussy cutting. So you can see I'm just going to town. I've really sped up the video quite a bit. It takes a while to fussy cut flowers. There's no denying that. Usually I have a movie going or a TV show or something, and so that is what I'm doing while I'm doing all this business. I find it kind of therapeutic. I don't get a lot of time to watch television or movies or anything, so when I'm scrapbooking is the time that I do it. So that's what I'm doing while I am filming this video and cutting all these flowers. So as I cut them, I'm kind of started with the large, and then I'm working down to the smaller sized flowers, and I'm placing them on my page kind of where I think they're probably going to end up. And the left side of the page was the easiest part for me to fill in, like what kind of flowers I wanted to put, where. But I really had trouble in and around my photo making it not super crazy with the flowers. I think I end up using too much on that one side in the end, if I'll be perfectly honest. I think I probably would have done it a little differently on the right side, but it is what it is. They're not all masterpieces, as they say. So I'm just adding these now down, the parts that I'm really happy about. So I'm using my dot runner, and some foam adhesive just to tuck all these flowers in. I start with the larger ones and then work down to the smaller size. And I add pop dots in around. I have a couple different kinds of pop dots. These are the ones I use the most. These are like a thicker foam circle. And they're really puffy. Like some pop dots are thinner and some are thicker, and I'm going to use a bit of both on this page, and that just adds different dimension and shadow to your project. So a lot of the designers who work projects for booths at CHA and things like that, that's kind of the secret, is they use a lot of foam adhesive. It really makes your photos and your project stand out. These ones here, the black pop dots are a thinner profile, I guess you could call them. So they're probably about half or a third even of the thickness of those white ones. And that just makes kind of, you see a lot of shadow in your project. That's cheap and easy, right? Get some foam adhesive and some pattern paper. Like this project is probably like a really cheap one versus some that have some thicker embellishments on them, right? And you can really turn any embellishment into something dimensional with pop dots, so that's why I like them. And I do not work for any sort of company that pays me in pop dots. I wish they did, though, because I use that many. Anyway, I really had a lot of trouble, to be honest, on the right side of my page around my photo, kind of knowing how many flowers to use. I end up using too many, I think, in the end, now after the fact that I've looked at it. But I kind of worked with the large flowers first, and I stuck them down, and then I started working smaller. So I think my main trouble with this page was when I got down to the bottom corner of my photo, I really wanted to have some flowers down there, but I think maybe I had too many larger ones left over, and I didn't want to use so many of all the same, that little like orangey kind of coral color. So you can see there, it's already starting to become a bit of a flower storm, so to speak. So what you saw there is I used my dot runner for adhesive, and the good part about it is that you can rub it off. If you stick it down and it's not exactly where you want it to be, you can stick it down and it works good to just get out of there. You don't have to worry about it. And so now I'm adding in some smaller bits, and I'm using those pop dots. And sorry, my camera is super jiggly. I seemed to be like really banging on my table, which made the camera move. I don't know what I was doing that made it shake so bad, but yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm just going to keep working these flowers in the ring. And the thing to be cautious of is you don't want to have a whole clump, like I have here, a whole clump of smaller flowers, and then I have a big one sticking at the bottom. I'm not a big fan of that. I think I had like too much going on there on the right side, so that's why I'm not super pleased with that part of it. But you know what, in the end it's okay. So I'm going to add in some of these stems now. I kind of like this dark kind of teal color. It brings just another, tone of the blue that's in the paper. And I'm just tucking some of these in and around. You can see that I've just actually torn in half some of those stems down, so they're not quite as tall. And I'm just tucking them in and around my floral kind of clusters, just to kind of extend the circle shape. What I don't want, and what I found I was getting here with the flowers, especially on the right side of the page, is it was more linear than it was circular. And I really wanted to follow that circle on the page. So I'm using the stems kind of to fool myself and the eye of the person looking at the layout that it's in a bit more of a circle shape. You can see I have them kind of stuck in and around the circle. So I think I'm kind of happy with how the flowers look at this point. So now I'm going to start working on just a title. And because there's so many flowers and so much stuff kind of there, I'm really leaving the rest of the page simple. So in the center here, I thought about using this title XOXO with those large letters that are super awesome. And I do like that. I like that how that looks, but it's just kind of a little bit too plain in the center. So I'm kind of playing around with using some of these, either these die cuts or that cut apart sheet. So I'm going to take a look here. These are the pea pod parts from Jillibean. These are their version of a die cut. And there's so many fun brush scripts, like that smile is pretty. And there's one, I think this is love and XO, that I kind of toy around with, and I end up not using either of those, any of those. And then I found some more stems in there, and I thought about adding them, but it was just too much, so I put those back. And yeah, you can see I kind of play around with that, and I thought, no, you know what? I kind of want to have a little bit more in there. It was just too much of that blue almost shining through. I should have added some paper, a different paper in between, but I didn't. And it's kind of too late to go back. So I decided, no, I'm not going to use these large letters on this project. But I love them. I'm going to use them for sure. And so I'm just going to stick those back in that package. And I end up using just a couple of the little hearts out of this die cut pack. I start off with the pink one here, and I thought I would just do a tone-on-tone pink thing here, but I changed my mind quite quickly and decided, nope, I want to make that yellow, so I end up sticking down a yellow just to kind of make it stand out a little more. And then I decided that was still looking a little too plain for me. In hindsight now, I would probably just added some strip journaling in that bottom area, or if I had one of those fancy 12 by 12 typewriters, I would have typed on there, but I don't. So I'm just going to use some of these letter stickers and word stickers here from the coordinating label sticker sheet. You can see you get tons of fun stuff on there. So I have like a little tab, and then there's a bunch of these tiny little sentiments on there. I'm just going to line a few up, and I end up adding stitching to that later on just to kind of stick it all down. So that's it. You can see I added some wood sprinkles to a couple of the flowers, the sparkly and enamel dot sized ones. And it's a really, really simple page, but I kind of like how it turned out. And that's it. So I hope you like this video, and thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.